They are the immortal guardians of managed democracy, the noble few who hurl themselves from orbit feet first into hell. The Helldivers, humanity's finest sons and daughters, defending Super Earth across a hostile galaxy. They fall by the millions, they rise by the millions. And each time they are the same familiar face, the same voices, the same fearless warriors. Their sacrifice ensures our liberty. Their blood waters the roots of our freedom. But have you ever noticed something strange about them? The way they always awaken from cryo, stumbling out as though born anew. The way reinforcements crash down from orbit, not just gear, but you. The way every Helldiver looks the same, sounds the same, wears the same armour. It leads to a question few dare to ask. Are the Helldivers all clones? Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and in today's video we're diving into a little emergent theory that I noticed when looking at the mechanics of the game. Now of course, like I've said many times before, Helldivers, proportionally speaking to my usual content, is a relatively young franchise and the lore is still being fleshed out. And indeed it does purposely leave things to speculation or completely unanswered on purpose. But that's great for us because it opens up the opportunity for us to have discussions and debates about specifics, lore, canon, and other speculative conversations seated squarely in the Helldivers universe. And today I'm going to formally pitch the Helldiver clone theory. When you first become a Helldiver, it isn't the battlefield that claims you. It's the paperwork. The contract of employment is one of the strangest, darkest, and yet most satirical documents in the Helldivers universe. It binds you the moment you stand near it, whether you read it or not. It excuses Super Earth from any liability for your death, dismemberment, or misfortune. It transfers debts from your destroyed Super Destroyer directly onto your family's martyrdom payment. But hidden among its absurd clauses, one line stands out above the rest. Subsection 6.2 under General Provision of the Contract of Employment reads, and I quote, "The enlisted consents to personal samples, including but not limited to flesh, bone and blood, to be collected and processed by 1. The enlister, 2. The authorised command structure, and 3. Appropriate agents of the Super Earth Armed Forces and Democratic Council." On the surface it reads like a boilerplate satire, a parody of corporate fine print. But take it seriously for a moment. Why would Super Earth demand not just biological samples, but all biological material that can be used not only for experimentation, but for full sequencing of your genetic profile? That isn't the language of payroll, that is the language of replication, of copying, of cloning. And when are these samples taken? We're never explicitly told. It could be that our biological material is collected upon death, but that doesn't seem very likely, particularly given that many of the worlds that Helldivers are deployed to are completely overrun with hostiles and in some cases are hive worlds that will likely never be settled. Why spend resources to recover the corpse of a Helldiver that may or may not be intact or even accessible on dangerous frontier worlds when so many Helldivers are thrown at a problem indiscriminately as tantamount to disposable soldiers? Doesn't seem likely when Super Earth has much easier access to Helldivers' biological information much earlier. In fact, at the very beginning of their employment. Consider the tutorial. Every Helldiver is put through a simulated injury, instructed to jab themselves with a stim and told to experience the limits of their own mortality. What if that moment is more than training? What if the stim kit isn't just medicine, but a disguised biopsy? Taking blood, DNA, perhaps even the neurological readings under the guise of an accident. Even the simulated injury station itself has the ideal opportunity to collect that information. It would be the perfect moment. Every recruit passes through it, every recruit is forced into compliance, and every recruit walks away none the wiser. Their body already catalogued, copied, and uploaded to the vast machinery of Super Earth's managed democracy. If you've ever wondered why the war never runs out of Helldivers, why replacements fall from the sky the moment one dies, perhaps it's because Super Earth ensured from the moment you signed, or rather didn't sign, that they would own not just your life, but the very pattern of your existence. But there is much, much more evidence than just this. When you complete your training, Super Earth grants you command of a Class 6 destroyer, a colossal, fully armed, fully equipped warship. And it is yours, not leased, not shared, not borrowed, yours alone. This in itself is extraordinary. Even in an empire as vast as Super Earth's, the idea of assigning a single warship to a single soldier seems absurd, and yet it is done. Each Helldiver receives a destroyer, and each destroyer is seemingly tailored to them. But then, as you walk its corridors, something unsettling reveals itself. There are cryopods aboard. Dozens of them. Rows of them. And within each pod, a figure. Another Helldiver. This raises a question so obvious most overlook it. Whose ship is this? It is yours. You own it. You command it. You sleep within it. So who are those other Helldivers slumbering in the pods aboard your ship? The answer is simple. They are you. They just haven't been activated yet. The destroyer is not a barracks, it's not a troop carrier, it's a factory. It manufactures hellpods, it stores cryopods, and it houses the most terrible secret of all. It mass produces the Helldivers themselves. Think of it as an orbiting assembly line, a laboratory, a womb made of steel. The destroyer can fabricate hellpods by the hundred, each a disposable bullet casing for democracy. It can spawn supplies, weapons, ordnance and stratagems at will. It can conjure upgrades seemingly overnight with no dry dock, no yard crew, no logistical pause. How? Because within its cavernous hull lies a production facility so advanced it blurs the line between science and sorcery. Feed it raw materials, requisition points, or simply the will of Super Earth, and the destroyer remakes itself instantly. Armor modules, weapon patterns, ammunition crates, even tanks and mechs all flow from its forges with no observable delay. If it can do this for machines, why not for you? Each time you log in, you awaken from cryo. Each time you die, the destroyer drops another Helldiver, fully armed and ready. The presence of surplus pods proves what the contract already implied. The destroyer doesn't just support a Helldiver, it grows them. It grows you. It is a ship, yes. A warship, yes. But it's also your factory, your assembly line, and your laboratory. And when you think about it that way, the scale of the deception becomes clear. The destroyer doesn't serve a Helldiver, it sustains a process. It sustains a cycle, it sustains you. Again and again and again. The Super Destroyer isn't just your ship, it's your grave and your birthplace over and over again. What happened to the original you? The very first time you died, the original you died. Every single time you've respawned since, you've been a copy, a clone. Which brings us neatly to our next point. On the battlefield, death is not the end. In fact, in Helldivers, it's barely even a pause. When a soldier falls, the squad calls in reinforcement stratagems. A code is punched, a beacon is thrown, and seconds later the sky tears open. A hellpod slams into the dirt, its hatch bursts outwards, and a Helldiver emerges, alive, armed, and ready to continue the mission. Even if you fight alone, the pattern repeats. The destroyer above, acting without hesitation, dispatches a replacement the moment you are lost. It is seamless. Too seamless. Consider the logistics. A replacement soldier would have to be revived from cryo, stumble into consciousness, be equipped, put on his armour, get his weapons, and walk the length of the destroyer to board a waiting pod. That process, at highest speed, would take minutes, if not more likely to be on the order of an hour. And yet reinforcements arrive in seconds. How is this possible? The answer may lie in the design of the cryopod itself. Notice its shape, a simple cylinder capped at either end. Now notice the aperture on the upper surface of a hellpod. The dimensions align almost perfectly. What if the reinforcement isn't a soldier awakened and deployed, but an entire cryopod loaded directly into the hellpod's spine? A Helldiver still in stasis, sealed inside, hurtling through the atmosphere as an unconscious passenger. In this model, the soldier never walks the destroyer's corridors. They are never briefed. They never stretch their legs on the deck. They are simply thawed in transit, consciousness blooming in the final seconds before impact. The hatch blows open and the Helldiver steps forward, not from preparation, but from instant manufacture. This would explain the uncanny speed of reinforcements, and it would also explain why every replacement Helldiver is functionally identical, emerging with no variance, no delay, no hesitation. And it suggests something darker still, because if the cryopod and the hellpod are interchangeable, one fitting neatly inside of the other, then every time you die, it isn't you being revived, it's another version waiting its turn, dropping into hell like ammunition in the chamber of a rifle. This is the death loop. You are the expendable round, the destroyer is the gun, and democracy never runs out of bullets. But let's take a closer look at the identity of the Helldiver. If you spend enough time in the field, something starts to gnaw at the back of your mind as you fight. Your fight comes to a brief end before starting again moments later. Each time you die, a new Helldiver is deployed as a replacement and your battle continues, and every single one of them looks the same, every Helldiver sounds the same, every Helldiver bleeds, fights, and dies in the same way. Yes, the colours of their armour occasionally may vary, their capes may occasionally differ, their weapons may change, but beneath the paint there is only one body, one voice, one face hidden by the visor, always present, always the same. This is not normal. In a galaxy as vast as Super Earth's domain, the odds of every Helldiver being identical are astronomically impossible. Even conscript armies drawn from billions produce variety. Different builds, different timbers of voice, different scars of life. Yet here, there is no variety at all. Every Helldiver aboard a single destroyer is a copy. And this is where the theory of cloning gains its most visible proof. Uniformity is efficiency. To mass-produce soldiers you need a pattern, a template, a single genetic and cognitive mould stamped again and again, until the assembly line runs dry. What you see on the battlefield is the product of that process. Think of the destroyer's cryopod rows, not as bunks but as shelves in a warehouse. Each shelf holds a Helldiver grown to spec, a duplicate waiting for its turn to be loaded into a pod and fired into battle. And think of the battlefield itself as the final stage of quality control. The mission is not only a test of democracy, it is a test of you, of whether the copy performs as designed. The result is a terrifying kind of immortality. Not the persistence of one life, but persistence of one pattern. A single soldier, repeated endlessly. A single voice echoing across every drop, a single Helldiver existing in 1,000 bodies at once. But then this presents the problem of consciousness. Up to this point, the theory explains the body. But what about the mind? If every Helldiver is simply a cloned body waiting in storage, then why do they remember what happened before their death? Why do they recall the last battle, the last shot fired, the very instant of their demise? The answer may lie in the helmet. Every Helldiver wears one. Every helmet is wired directly into the destroyer's systems. Its purpose is not just communication or vision, it is surveillance. A constant feed of telemetry, health, vitals, reflex arcs, and perhaps even neural signatures. Exactly the kind of data the contract authorized Super Earth to collect in perpetuity. Notice the data port at the rear of the helmet, a hardline interface perfectly positioned at the base of the skull. To most, it is just a design flourish. But to us, it may be a clue. A possible neural recorder, taking snapshots of thought, memory, and awareness every second you remain in combat. Now recall the reinforcement cycle. Death in the field is followed by immediate replacement, as though consciousness itself simply teleports from one body to the next. But there is a way to explain this. What if, upon your death, the helmet captures the final moments of your conscious experience, the flicker of awareness as life fades? Those memories are uploaded, compressed, and attached to the ongoing feed of your mission data. Meanwhile, back on the destroyer, a cryopod is already being loaded into a hellpod, and inside it, your next self waits in stasis. As the pod is armed and launched, the save data, your last thoughts, your last images, are uploaded into the fresh brain of the clone. The hellpod descends, the cryopod revives the body in seconds, pumping stimulants and oxygen until the eyes open, and the first conscious experience is seamless. The hatch splitting open, the battlefield roaring back into view. From your perspective, there has been no gap. No pause, no delay. You died and then you lived. A continuous line of memory and awareness carried forward by machines. This creates the illusion, perhaps even the reality, of continuity. But here is the true horror. Does this mean you survived? Or did you die, truly, completely? And the thing that stands in your place is nothing but a perfect copy, carrying your memories like stolen luggage. Is it continuity or imitation? Is the flame passed from one wick to another, or is the first candle simply extinguished and a new one lit in its place? This is the philosophical dilemma at the heart of the Helldiver, and it sets the stage for the next question. If the you inside the game can be endlessly replaced, then where does the real continuity of self truly reside? If you take the battlefield at face value, it seems impossible. A Helldiver dies, their body is destroyed, their nervous system silenced, and yet moments later, they awaken again. They remember everything, they fight on as if death itself had never interrupted them. This persistence of consciousness implies something almost spiritual, as if Helldivers exist on more than one plane of reality, as if their awareness, their soul, transcends the physical body and cannot be extinguished by death. In the universe of Helldivers, this is never explained. Super Earth does not acknowledge it, the contract does not admit it, and yet the experience is inescapable. The Helldiver does not die as we understand death. They pass through it and return. But here is where we must step outside of fiction, because there is, in truth, a higher plane of existence where the Helldiver's consciousness does persist. It is not inside the clone, it is not inside the helmet. It is here, in the real world. It is you, the player. You are the true continuity. the higher consciousness that spans every incarnation. When one Helldiver dies and another awakens, the sense of seamless awareness is not because the clone inherited a soul, it is because you remained constant. You watched the death, you commanded the reinforcement, you guided the replacement. Your consciousness is the bridge. And in this way, the Helldivers become vessels, disposable shells animated by the persistence of a higher being, a higher plane, a mind beyond their universe. In their world they call it managed democracy, in ours we call it a video game, but the experience is the same. The true Helldiver is not the clone on the battlefield, it is the player holding the controller, the guardian in the higher plane whose awareness never ends. This is why every Helldiver speaks with the same voice, why every Helldiver remembers the same events, because their true identity is not in the body, but in the observer who commands them. And in this way, the satire hides a profound truth. The Helldiver is immortal not because of cloning, not because of technology, but because their reality is only ever a reflection of yours. But hey, that's very meta, and I think we can get a little bit more substance from this. And there has been official word on this. Now, I don't claim to be the origin of this clone theory. It's been spoken about before. I'm just here bringing together all of the evidence in my own way. And at this point we've built a mountain of circumstantial evidence. The contract and its demands for biological samples, the cryopods lining your destroyer, the uncanny speed of reinforcements, the identical faces and voices, the continuity of memory through death itself. But what does Super Earth say? The official word is blunt. Helldivers are not clones, they are real people with real families. And Arrowhead, the studio behind Helldivers, has repeated this denial in interviews. Flat, unambiguous, end of discussion. But let us stop and ask a dangerous question. What would you expect an authoritarian regime to say if it were cloning soldiers? Would they admit it? Would they parade it in the streets? Or would they deny it? Loudly, consistently, until the denial itself became truth. History gives us the answer. Authoritarian systems thrive not on transparency, but on silence, on contradiction, on rewriting the record until yesterday's atrocities become tomorrow's patriotic myth. Super Earth is no different. Its propaganda insists the Helldivers are noble volunteers, celebrated citizens, martyrs with families at home. But the very structure of managed democracy is built on denial, denying freedom while claiming to spread it, denying individuality while weaponizing identity, denying humanity while demanding sacrifice. So, when the official word says, no, they are not clones, I hear something else. I hear, no, they are not clones, and if they were, you would never be allowed to know. This is what makes the clone theory different from most. Usually, when a fan theory collides with canon, it dies. But in this case, the collision feeds the theory. The denial becomes part of the satire. The canon itself becomes propaganda, and within a universe built entirely on lies, censorship, and state-managed narratives, the denial of cloning is not evidence against it, it is perhaps the most powerful evidence for it. The evidence surrounds us. The contract and its hidden clauses, the cryopods lining your destroyer, the reinforcement loop that turns death into a comma, not a full stop, the identical voices, the identical faces, The helmets that may record not just your vitals but your very thoughts. The official denial that denies too loudly to be trusted. Are the Helldivers all clones? Perhaps. Perhaps not. But in a universe where propaganda is truth, and truth is treason, the answer may not matter. Because what Super Earth has created is not just soldiers. It has created a process. An endless cycle of bodies and memory, forged into a weapon of continuity. The Helldiver is not a person, the Helldiver is a story. And stories cannot die. So the next time you throw yourself into hell, remember this. You may not be the first version of yourself to do it. You may not be the last. But to Super Earth, it makes no difference. Your individuality is irrelevant. Your continuity is the only thing that matters. And until next time.
Open up. Ministry of Defense.
What is the charge?
We have reports of treasonous content being broadcast.
It's a fine headlock there, son.
We're under arrest for dissemination of misinformation and conspiracy against managed democracy.
Ah, yes. I see you know your judo well.
Take him for re-education.
Get him gagged, he's still recording.
Your hands
The
off
President
me.
thanks you for your cooperation.
Citizen, you are under arrest for treason
Get your
against Super
hands
Earth
off
and
my
her colonies. You do not have the right to remain silent or refuse
This
to answer
one's got me on
questions.
the penis,
Anything
people.
you say can and will be used against you during your trial with the Ministry of Truth, and you will not be appointed an attorney.
You there, are
Effective
you ready to
immediately,
receive
you can
my
no longer
limp
apply for a
penis?
C1 permit, you can no longer access the GWW or any offshoot, and will have your
Ladies and
M2016
gentlemen,
Constitution confiscated
this
until your trial is complete.
Children of Super Earth, keep an ear trained on your parents for signs of rebellion. Signs include disparaging Super Earth, distrust in managed democracy, asking questions, and any sentence that includes the phrase alien rights. A report today is a life saved tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, kindly tap that like button, and if you're not already subscribed and want to see more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Pop a comment down below telling me what you thought of today's video, or if you want me to cover something specific in the near future. I want to take this opportunity to thank and give shoutouts to my patrons and YouTube supporters, Spartan10148, my singular Contender class Ancilla, the triumvirate of minds within my installation's Metarch, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, my 7 installation monitors, Sophia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan1029, Chris, Orion and Shane, the crush of sub-monitors, Legion, Ryan, Lebrat, Spartan0137, Element 0, J3, Cult, Evermore's, Personal Devil, Scion Esports, Phantasma, Ashton and 191 Shaken Lightbulb, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, my most loyal of Enforcers, and every single one of the awesome people supporting the channel over on Patreon. My Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members, Spartan137, again, Maury, Jimbo and Balaz, and all other YouTube members keeping my installation functional on that glorious vacuum energy. I cannot thank you all enough. Shout out to John because... And if you like what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel on one of the support links in the description to net yourself some tasty merch and help keep the channel going. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.